It's hard to ignore the buzz around plant-based eating these days, isn't it?
It really is. Feels like a real turning point.
Yeah, definitely. And how we think about what we eat. Okay, let's unpack this because we've got some pretty compelling numbers that really illustrate this shift.
Right.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into the global lentil protein market. We're drawing insights from a detailed market research report.
Mm-hmm.
Think of this as, getting up to speed on a significant trend, understanding where it stands now, and crucially, where it's headed.
Yeah, the trajectory is key.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our mission here is to pull out the most important insights so you can see the bigger picture.
Okay. And what's fascinating right off the bat is the scale we're already seeing in this market.
Yeah.
This report projects the global lentil protein market will reach USD 162.84 million in 2025.
Okay, 162 million. That's substantial.
It is, but that's really just the beginning of the story, it seems. The expectation is for pretty significant growth over the coming years.
Significant feels like an understatement. The report forecasts it reaching USD 242.428 million by 2033.
That's quite a jump.
It really is. That's a compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of 5.10% between 2025 and 2033. So what's the engine driving this kind of expansion? What's behind it?
Well, if we connect this to broader trends, the report points to a couple of key drivers. Firstly, the increasing prevalence of obesity globally. It's pushing more people to actively seek healthier dietary options.
Makes sense.
And secondly, there's just a growing public understanding, like real awareness of the advantages of healthy eating in general.
Right, and lentil protein slots right into that narrative.
Exactly. It fits both of those trends quite nicely.
So we're looking at an expanding market overall, fueled by a greater focus on health. Now, I'm always interested in how these things play out differently around the world. How does this market break down geographically?
Yeah, this is where things get really interesting. North America currently holds the largest piece of the pie. We're talking over 40% of the global market.
Mm-hmm.
In 2025, their market size is projected to be USD 60.25 million.
60 million just in North America.
Yeah, with a CAGR of 3.9% through 2033. So solid growth. You can think of North America as sort of an early adopter in this space.
And within North America, I'm guessing the U.S. is the dominant force there.
That's right. The U.S. market alone is expected to hit USD 47.54 million in 2025.
Wow.
And it'll grow at a key GR of 3.7%. This growth is strongly tied to the rising popularity of plant-based diets in the country.
Yeah, you see it everywhere.
You do. Canada projected at USD 7.23 million in 2025 with a key GR of 4.7% is also a significant contributor. Driven by similar health concerns, rising obesity rates there too.
Okay.
And Mexico rounds out the region with a USD 5.48 million market and a 4.4% CAGR.
Okay, so North America's leading. What about Europe? Seemed like they also held a pretty substantial share in the overview.
Yes, absolutely. Europe accounts for over 30% of the global market.
Over 30%. Okay.
Yeah, with a projected size of USD 47.22 million in 2025 and a CAGR of 4.2%. So slightly faster growth than North America overall.
Interesting. Any specific countries driving that in Europe?
Yeah, the report highlights a couple. The UK, with a USD 7.93 million market and a strong 5.0% CAGR. That seems to be linked to strong consumer demand for sustainable protein sources.
Sustainability, right. Big driver there.
Definitely. And Germany is projected at USD 9.35 million and a 4.4% AGR beat. There, the growth seems propelled more by the increasing adoption of veganism.
Right, which is a huge trend in Germany.
It is.
And I noticed Asia Pacific. That had a really impressive growth rate predicted, didn't it?
Absolutely. This is one of the kind of standout figures. While currently holding around 23% of the global market, that's USD 39.08 million in 2025, the Asia-Pacific region is projected to have the fastest CAGR.
Okay, how fast are we talking?
A remarkable 7.8% from 2025 to 2033.
Wow, that's, almost double North America's rate.
Exactly. This explosive growth signals a really significant shift in the plant-based protein landscape. For you listening, this could mean increased innovation and potentially more diverse product offerings becoming available globally as companies really compete in this rapidly expanding market.
So what's the story there? What's fueling that rapid adoption in APAC?
Well, there are several factors at play. In China, the market's expected to reach USD 16.41 million with a 7.3% CAGR. That seems driven by increasing health consciousness and, importantly, rising income levels.
Right, more disposable income.
Precisely. Then you have India. It has a smaller current market, USD 3.91 million, but it's projected to grow at an even faster pace, 9.7% CAGR.
Nearly 10%.
Yeah. It reflects a growing awareness of healthy eating in these, incredibly densely populated regions. And as incomes rise, consumers just have more purchasing power to explore these options.
Makes perfect sense. And the other regions quickly, South
Mhm.
America, Middle East, Africa, what's the outlook there?
Sure, South America holds over 5% of the market. Projected size is USD 6.19 million in 2025, CAGR of 5.4%. Brazil in particular is expected to contribute significantly, USD 2.65 million market, 6.0% CAGR, again linked to rising obesity and related health issues driving demand for healthier food choices.
Okay.
The Middle East accounts for around 2%, projected at USD 6.51 million with a 5.6% CAGR. Saudi Arabia is a key contributor there, USD 2.29 million, 5.9% CAGR.
Still solid growth rates, even with smaller shares.
They are. Africa currently has the smallest share, around 1%. Projected market size of USD 3.58 million and the lowest CAGR at 1.4%. South Africa is the largest market within the region at USD 1.26 million and a 2.3% CAGR. So these regions, while smaller now, still represent growing interest.
Got it. Okay, so we've got the big picture on market size and regional growth. Now, the report also breaks things down by product type, nature organic versus conventional end users, even processing methods. Let's start with the product outlook. What kind of lentil protein products are most in demand?
Okay. According to the report, protein isolates are likely to be the dominant product type.
Isolates. Can you remind us what that means exactly?
Sure, protein isolates are essentially a highly purified form of lentil protein. Most of the other components like carbs and fats have been removed, so you get a product that's very high in protein content.
Right, super concentrated.
Exactly. And this dominance is largely due to the increasing awareness of plant-based diets and the recognition of lentil protein as sustainable and nutrient-dense, especially for vegans and health-conscious individuals looking for that concentrated protein boost.
Okay, so isolates are king. And what about the fastest growing product segment? Where's the most rapid increase in demand?
That would be protein concentrates.
Concentrates. Okay, how are they different from isolates?
Concentrates are less processed than isolates. That means they still contain more of the original lentil components, some fiber, other nutrients, alongside the protein. They're not quite as pure protein-wise. And this growth is really fueled by the broader trend towards healthy eating, the demand for clean label products, minimally processed foods.
Right, people wanting things closer to the original source.
Exactly. Lentil protein concentrates are attractive because they offer a balanced amino acid profile plus fiber, minerals, vitamins. It appeals to consumers who want more than just pure protein.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, now looking at the nature of the protein organic versus conventional, which way is the market leaning there?
Well, currently, conventional lentil protein holds the largest market share.
Okay, conventional. Why is that?
It's mainly down to affordability, widespread consumer acceptance just because it's been around, and established use in various industrial applications. It's simply the more readily available and cost-effective option for many food manufacturers right now.
But I'm guessing the organic segment is picking up steam. It feels like organic options are gaining traction everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. You guessed right. Organic lentil protein is experiencing rapid growth. This is driven by increasing consumer concerns about, environmental sustainability, animal welfare, personal health, all those things.
The whole package.
Yeah. And the rise in veganism and vegetarianism, which often aligns with a preference for organic products, is also a significant factor boosting that organic segment. Think of it as reflecting a more sort of holistic approach to food choices for a growing number of people.
Okay. Let's shift to who's actually using all this lentil protein, the end user outlook. Where's the biggest demand right now? Which industries?
The food processing industry currently holds the largest share. No huge surprise there, maybe.
Right, makes sense.
It's because lentil protein is increasingly being used in a really wide array of food products. Think snacks, baked goods, meat alternatives.
For its nutritional benefits.
Exactly. It's packed with protein, fiber, vitamins, minerals, and it's low in fat and cholesterol. Plus, food manufacturers are actively seeking sustainable and innovative ingredients to meet changing consumer preferences. And lentil protein really fits that bill perfectly.
Okay, food processing is the biggest user. Which end user segment is expanding the fastest? Where's the most dynamic growth in terms of who's using it?
That would be the sports nutrition segment. It's expanding rapidly.
Ah, interesting. Why sports nutrition specifically?
Well, fitness enthusiasts and athletes are increasingly looking for sustainable protein sources, but also allergy-free options. Lentil protein fits the bill. It offers good digestibility and a comprehensive amino acid profile.
Or it's crucial for muscle recovery.
Absolutely. Crucial for muscle recovery and performance. So it's becoming a really popular alternative to traditional whey or soy-based protein powders for many people.
Right. I've seen lentil protein listed on some newer powders.
Exactly. It's making inroads.
The report even talks about processing types, dry versus wet. What's the difference there in terms of market share and growth?
Okay, yeah. So dry processing currently holds the largest share.
Dry processing.
Yeah. It's generally more affordable and considered more environmentally friendly because it uses less water and fewer chemicals compared to wet processing.
Okay, cost and eco benefits.
Right. It also helps preserve some of the natural activity, the functionality of the protein, making it suitable for things like baked goods and meat alternatives, where maintaining some of those natural characteristics is actually beneficial.
And wet processing is the one to watch for growth. What advantages does it offer that drive that?
That's right. Wet processing is expanding rapidly. The key advantage is that it can produce high purity, highly functional protein isolates.
Ah, isolates again.
Yes. And these isolates tend to have improved solubility and emulsification properties. Think about how important solubility is for things like protein shakes and beverages. You don't want clumps, right?
Definitely not.
And emulsification is key for creating creamy textures in dairy substitutes. Wet processing really excels in delivering those properties, making it ideal for those kinds of applications.
Got it. So different methods for different end products.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, we've covered a lot about the market itself. Size, regions, products, users, processing. Now let's zoom out just a bit. Remind us of the key drivers really pushing this growth forward. What are the underlying forces at play here?
Well, we've touched on a few already, but let's summarize the core drivers. Changing consumer tastes, favoring allergen-free nutrition products. That's a major factor.
Allergen-free, yes.
The growth of the global vegan population is also significant. We mentioned that number, around 79 million people worldwide back in January 2021. And while it's still a relatively small percentage globally, maybe 1%, the growth trend is undeniable.
It's the direction of travel.
Exactly. Increasing awareness of the impressive nutritional value of lentil protein itself, it's rich in essential amino acids like aspartic acid, glutamic acid, arginine, lysine.
So the nutritional profile is a big selling point.
Definitely. Plus, we're seeing its growing use in diverse sectors: sports nutrition, nutraceuticals, general food processing, even infant formula as manufacturers explore its versatility.
And the environmental angle.
Right, can't forget that. The environmental benefits of lentils, they require less water and produce fewer greenhouse gas emissions compared to livestock. That's playing a role for environmentally conscious consumers.
And obesity rates, too, you mentioned.
Yes, the rising global obesity rates. The WHO estimated 1.9 billion overweight adults, 650 million obese back in 2020. That's pushing people towards healthier diets. It's really a confluence of factors, a perfect storm, as you said earlier.
It really sounds like it. A lot of tailwinds pushing this market forward. But are there any headwinds, any potential obstacles or restraints on this market's expansion?
Yes, there are a few things holding it back somewhat. One significant restraint is honestly the current lack of widespread awareness.
Still, even with all this growth.
Relatively speaking, yes. Among both consumers and, importantly, food producers, there's less familiarity with specific uses and advantages of lentil protein compared to more established options like soy, pea, or wheat protein.
Okay, so an education gap.
Kind of. And related to that, there can be some initial hesitancy from food producers due to maybe a lack of deep understanding of its functional properties, how exactly it behaves in different food matrices regarding solubility, texture, flavor. It requires some R&D on their part.
Learning curve for manufacturers.
Right. And finally, the price point. Lentil proteins can sometimes be higher priced compared to some other plant-based alternatives, which can be a limiting factor, especially for cost-sensitive applications.
Price, awareness, and functionality hurdles. Got it. What about future trends? Looking ahead, what does the report suggest we can expect to see shaping this market in the coming years?
Well, the report suggests we'll see increasing investment in R&D activities. That makes sense, right? Leading to new applications and improved processing techniques, maybe bringing costs down eventually.
Hopefully.
We can also anticipate growing sensitivity, maybe even backlash, to some traditional protein sources like soy due to allergy concerns or other issues. That could create further opportunities for lentil protein as a perceived cleaner alternative.
Right, diversification away from soy.
Exactly. And the underlying trends aren't going away. Rising health consciousness among consumers will undoubtedly continue to drive demand for natural and functional foods. And the increasing demand for protein-based and vegan ingredients due to health, ethical, or even religious considerations that's set to continue its upward trajectory.
So, more innovation, maybe a shift away from soy, and continued growth driven by health and ethics. Sounds plausible?
Yeah, that's the general outlook.
It's interesting to see how all these pieces fit together. Now, who are the big players in this competitive landscape? Which companies are leading the charge in the lentil protein market, according to the report?
Well, the report indicates that companies are primarily focusing on product innovation and development to meet that growing demand we've been talking about.
Makes sense. Innovate or fall behind.
Right. Their strategies often include forming alliances, making strategic acquisitions, and definitely expanding their operations into developing markets to capture that growth potential we discussed earlier, especially in regions like Asia Pacific.
Any specific examples of recent activity?
Yeah, the report mentions a few recent ones. Simpson Seeds expanding their lentil processing capabilities in June 2024. Kemin Industries introducing lentil protein for topical treatments like skincare in July 2023.
Topical treatments. Wow, that's diverse.
Isn't it? Shows the potential beyond just food. And Global Food and Ingredients acquiring Bentilia lentil pasta back in March 2022, highlighting that consolidation in the plant-based food space.
Okay, so M&A and expansion are happening. Who are some of the top companies named?
The report lists several, in no particular order, mind you.
Ah.
Big names like Archer Daniels Midland Company, ADM, AGT Food and Ingredients, Cargill Inc., Ingredient Inc., among others. These are major players in the broader food ingredient space, now active in lentils, too.
Right, the big agricultural and ingredient giants are involved.
Definitely.
So just to circle back on geography for a final thought, North America is currently the dominant region, but Asia Pacific is the one to watch for rapid growth. Which regions will likely be the most influential in shaping the future of the lentil protein market, do you think?
Well, North America's current dominance in 2025 is clear. It's supported by those established health trends and significant investment in R&D. You can't discount that base.
Right.
However, the Asia-Pacific region's projected fastest CAGR really underscores its immense potential. The sheer population size, combined with rising incomes and that increasing health awareness in key countries like China and India, it makes it an incredibly dynamic and promising market.
So potentially the future center of gravity.
It could very well become the driving force in the years to come. It's certainly a region that companies will be paying very close attention to, pouring investment into.
Well, this has been a truly insightful deep dive into the lentil protein market. It's fascinating to see not just the numbers, but the underlying trends and global shifts that are shaping this whole industry.
It really paints a picture, doesn't it?
It does. So to bring it all together, we've explored the significant growth that's anticipated, the key factors fueling this expansion, from health to sustainability to technology, and the interesting variations we're seeing across different regions and product types.
Indeed. And this raises an important question, maybe for you listening to consider. How does this growth in the lentil protein market reflect broader shifts in global food consumption and our increasing awareness of sustainability?
That's a great question.
And maybe think about what innovative new products or perhaps unexpected applications like that topical treatment example might emerge as this market continues to expand and evolve. It's definitely something to think about as you navigate your own food choices and just understand the global food landscape moving forward.